If I'm already squinting, I squint even more.
Yeah. Let's see here. Where we at? All right, guys. We are officially live. We have two guests with us, a returning guest and a new guest. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce the topics and go from there, okay? Kaylin?
Okay, my name is Kaylin Nolan. I'm a, self-proclaimed career student, but in the practice of law, I go over contracts and lease agreements and a lot of wills and probate estate planning documents. So that's what I'm here to help with today, or anything else anyone wants to ask me.
Thank you.
Awesome.
My name is Jesus Hernandez. I'm one of the co-founders of Clear Choice Home Loans. We are a mortgage company here in Houston, Texas. You could reach me at Apply with Jesus, or you can call me at 713-530-9823.
And I'm Nate Balderas. I'm the acting broker for Lionsgate Realty. And you can find me at all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate.
Awesome. I'm Giovanni with Lionsgate Realty. I'm a manager here. I also host a podcast, Houston Business and Real Estate, which we're on right now, live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. If you are a local business owner and would like to get on the podcast, make sure that you reach out to us. Our information is down in the description below, and we're going to jump right into it. So, Kaylin, since we have you here, right, and this is the first time that we have anybody who's in your field, if you kind of want to give us a little breakdown on how you worked your way into that field and what exactly does it mean for you and what do you help people do?
Okay. I was in college and I was pre-med and I was working at a law firm as a process server. And so I was serving people or whatever, and I got bit by the bug. And the people that I was working with were probate, like to a large degree, handling people's estates. And just over time, I realized that there were just small things that people can do early on that would save them so much heartache after, like, their parents or aunts and uncles pass. So that's been my focus. And also, even, I hate to say it, but the divorce rate is high. Prenups and things like that, or business dealings, just say what the agreement is and have somebody to competently write it out, and just handle your business from the beginning and be clear from the beginning and keep the love relationship.
Gotcha.
What kind of bug was that you got bit by that made you have all these
people that love me? People that really love me, and if you value the relationship and you're not just trying to get over.
Gotcha. So right now you said something about, what was it before you get married? I'm going blank right now.
Prenups.
Prenups. So I hear this word all the time, especially on podcasts. Everybody's talking about who should get a prenup. Oh, I don't want her to leave with half of my stuff, or I don't want him to take my stuff. You know, a lot of these empowered OF girls got money now, so they want prenups as well. For who is a prenup? Should a regular person get a prenup? Does it work for everybody? I mean, if two people are getting married together and they have no like two pennies to rub together, does a prenup even matter?
It matters all the time. It's the documentation of your meeting of your minds.
So you're saying everybody should have a prenup?
You don't have to have a whole formal prenup, but you can always write things down or Zelle. There's so many ways to document, and I'm a big proponent of video documentation. It's not always so widely recognized, but it has probative value. Document what y'all's agreement is, and it makes both people be clear.
I agree with her in a sense of yes, like, so, and I'll give you an example, right?
Okay.
Everybody says, oh, let's do an LLC, right? And I've even heard, like, there was this notary kid from McAllen, right? The little young guy, the clown, right? He's like, I can make you an LLC for $500, right? And I'm like, huh. I said, I've never hired anybody to do an LLC, or I've never done an LLC. I said, I've always hired an attorney to do an LLC. He goes, oh, no, you don't need to waste your money. I said, no, it's not a waste of money, because that LLC is not simple. The LLC, to set up an LLC is easy, right? But the agreement that comes with the LLC is complex, and you have to have that agreement. So I think I know what you're saying, right? You're saying, hey, a marriage is a binding contract, right? And you should have some sort of, I guess, like an outline or an explanation or an operating agreement, right? For lack of better words, right?
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
It depends, on the person.
on the relationship.
Really?
Okay.
Or nothing.
Yeah.
And y'all are building something together, and you know you will divide it how you. Why do you have to put somebody else into it?
Gotcha. So, as an attorney, right, what do you think about people who buy houses together but they're not married?
I think it can work, and I think it can be a catastrophe.
At the same time.
I love the patience.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. It can work.
It can work.
I think that especially people that come from overseas that build so many things over here, they're not married. They're families that come together and live together and build their money together. And that's a big problem in the Black community. I hate to say it. We don't group our money together as much as other races. And it matters. And a lot of times marriage is that.
The grouping of money.
Grouping of financing or everything in total, but it's something that you just said, right, about the Black community. I think it has a lot to do with like just Americanism in general. We're very independent, because even with like our Mexican family, whenever they came here, everybody was always together. But as we get older and they're second or third generation here, everybody wants to do their own thing, and then everybody starts competing against each other. I think it comes down to America is very individualistic. But I think we're kind of coming back to the family aspect. I'm starting to see that a lot more. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that.
I have. And I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
And even in TV, you got to look at TV when you see a lot of it reflected, because we have Friends. It was more about singles. Now we have kind of fresh off the boat, I don't know, different things where families, it's family business. And for better or for worse, if it's ratchet about the family business, but I like that it's family business and community business. And I think we're moving back to that, and I'm so happy about that. And I think it's not going to be pretty all the way. Big corporate constructs are breaking down, but bigger things are building up.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because we just had a conversation about this earlier, right? That we're prepping for this new stage of where business is going, and I like that you said about family business, because it's something which surprisingly I've always heard, right? Oh, the worst people to hire is your family, but I think we have two examples here who work directly with their family, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to speak for you, Jesus, but you kind of built your company structure with your family like intertwined into it. As a
Correct.
component of it. If you want to dive deep into that, and then Nate, you can go ahead and talk about that as well.
Sure.
Yeah, so like, thank you so much for bringing that up, because you're spot on. It could be an amazing project. It could experience working with family members, just like it could go sideways very quickly, and you're not gonna have a problem just at work. You're gonna have a problem at home.
When you get home.
You might not be at family parties together. You might have separate couches, but where I'm going is it's a very heartwarming experience coming together, because you're telling your family or your spouses or your friends, I want to be in business with you because I want you to grow, and I appreciate you growing in this field with me. And yes, we're gonna have heartaches. Yes, we're gonna be able to do a lot of great things together, but we're also gonna go through a lot of tribulations. We're gonna grow together. With sometimes in business, you'll find out really quickly that you have to stick together, when the good is going on, but even when things are going south.
Yeah.
And celebrate the victories.
Yes.
All of it. The good times you have together and the things that go right. Just give more energy to that.
Yeah.
It will
It really
grow.
does. Yes.
It
I
will grow.
agree, and it's not the field that I thought we were going to talk about today, but You know, just today alone, I had a conversation with my brothers and my sister. They're all in the mortgage business, and you know, these guys will know. You know, I'm changing a bit for the better. The way we're structuring our company, the way we're growing professionally, financially, across the board, it calls for changes, which sometimes does hurt if you're not prepared for it. But if you set the right expectations of what the direction, what the vision is, it always tends to work out.
Mm-hmm.
Because the love and appreciation between family members does help, and it does hurt.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, I started a company with my family, right, or with my wife, right, and also, you know, I inculcated family members into my company. As a matter of fact, one of my business partners is a family member, and I've always heard this my whole life, right? It's huge in the Hispanic community. Never do business with family. Oh, never do business with family. You know, it's the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing ever. You know, and you know, it's not the worst thing ever. You know, it's like
It's not.
It's like, you know, I have business partnerships with other, you know, people that are not family members. You know, I've worked for people that were not family members, and you know, it's like, hey, I'm building something for this person, right? I'm sacrificing my time, my effort, my money. Why not sacrifice it for a family member? And why can't that family member sacrifice it for me, right? I've always had that thought, you know, and this is sacrifice. And, you know, and once again, you know, we talked about this last week, and we always talk about it, right? Because Giovanni says, I hate companies that say, oh, you're family, right?
And our company is all family.
He says, I hate when people say, hey, we're family. And I say, you know what? When I say we're family, I mean it.
Yeah.
I said we're family. Like I'm you know, I'm gonna roast you. I'm gonna get mad at you. I'm gonna scream at you. I mean, literally, you know, I don't treat my blood family any different than I treat some of my own realtors, right? When it comes to business, when we're doing business here, because you know, it's you know, you have to have that. You have to have that with your you know, employees and contractors and partners, because if you don't, then you're no different than anybody else, and you know, they're just a number, you know.
And one thing that I think is very important, if you guys are out there and you're planning on starting a business and you want to inculcate your family into it, like you want to build it, you want your family to be the foundation of your business, one of the most important factors, and you guys can correct me if you think that I'm wrong here, is you have to learn how to put up a wall between your feelings and the job.
Yes.
Because one of the things that, I don't know, it just came to me naturally. I'm able to section certain things off. But one thing that like other people in our family who don't work with us have heard certain conversations that we have just because they're around at that moment in time. And then we end up having necessarily an argument, right? But we're having a discussion, and it's heated because certain things need to move around. And then we're 5 minutes later, okay, yeah, you know, let's go eat.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the family members like, you guys are okay?
the hell happened?
Like, yeah, that's work. This is family time. Come on, let's go eat. Nothing happened. You know, there's no problem there. What do you guys think about learning how to separate your feelings from the work itself, but at the same time still be able to build on that foundation that you guys are family?
It happens to me all the time, every other day. You know, the first thing I'm gonna tell you is you're my brother, you're my sister. I love you. You are my blood. Or sometimes, you know, example, my spouse. We love each other.
To me, I think we always have. Did I cut you off?
Oh, it's okay. You can
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like we're one. We need to remember that we're one. And you know how the Bible says, judge not, lest ye be judged? It's because what I see in you is in me. If I judge you, it's in me. You know, and it's hard to deal with family. Lord knows I know that. But we just have to have an unconditional love. And it's not always that everybody we're going to deal with so often, but we have to open our hearts. We have to open our hearts and realize that we're strong and powerful. I believe in boundaries, but I also believe in don't be shut down and don't let people in. And there's a fine balance that we all have to really attain to. That's mastery.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what were you saying, Jesus?
You know, kind of lost my
You lost
train
your
of
point. Okay, so another thing, just to before we go on to the next topic.
No,
you have something?
yeah, no,
Okay,
I was
go
gonna say, you know, and you know, a lot of people think that it's easy to do that, right? You know, a lot of people think like, well, because what you just said right now, you know, you have your siblings and you have your family members and stuff like that. I've been working, you know, I have my family members, and I'm the same way, right? I will blow up, I'll scream at them, I'll tell them what, you know, what they lack in, whatever, right? But once 12 o'clock comes and I'm hungry, I'm like, hey, where are we eating? Let's go eat, right? And so that seems super easy to separate business from family. I've been doing it for years, so it's super easy. But recently, well, not recent, I want to say maybe about 2 years ago, my daughter joined the workforce and joined my company.
How old is she?
And now she's 21 now. So the thing is that when she joined the company, I want to say it was a reality check. It was a shell shock. It was everything. Not for me.
Yes, it was.
Not for me. I was used to it. I was like, hey, I still love you. You're still my daughter. I don't care. You know, but for her, it was oh my God, you know, like, hey, you know, this is daddy, you know, this is what's going on, you know, and I don't give her any leeway because I feel, you know, I don't agree in nepotism, right? I don't feel like if you're going to join this field, you're going to join this company, you're going to be in this industry, you're going to be working for me, then you need to get in line with everybody. I'm not going to treat you any better or any worse than what I treat anybody in this company. You know, like they say that whole thing, you know, I treat the janitor like I treat the CEO of this company the same. I treat them all the same. And if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, I'm super happy. If they're not, you're going to hear me and you're going to get a piece of me. And I will repeat myself over and over and over and over, you know? And so it's tough. You know, I realize it's tough because it does bother you just a little bit more when it's your daughter, you know? Or
It stings
it stings just a little. It's a little bit more. You're kind of like, oh, you know, you're like, all right, well, you know, she's not talking to me the whole ride home or whatever. But you know what?
The worst of it, whenever you have somebody working with you and they've known you for years, and then they get upset because of something you say, I'm like, you know me. you know this is not no different. Now you just work with me.
Yeah,
so you know I'm going to get
different.
upset if you're saying something crazy. I'm going to tell you, be quiet right now. Why are you mad? I tell you that all the time when we're not working.
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem here?
Yeah.
I think that's like the worst part of it. Before we go on to the next topic, I really want to get this answer from you guys because I think I don't ever hear this whenever this conversation comes up in other podcasts. But when is it time to cut off a family member? And how do you make that decision? Jesus, do you want to go on that?
Yeah. You approach it as a business sense. You have to look at the business and the livelihood of the business. You bring something together, you create something, but when it starts becoming a liability instead of an asset, or a problem instead of a solution, and you're going to approach your family members with respect. Number one, with respect, because they believed in you just like you're believing in them. The issue becomes when there's a problem and it consistently becomes a problem, and you've called it to their attention, and the problem doesn't get solved because of communication, because of continuous belief that I'm family, nothing's going to happen to me. And in reality, it's the opposite. Because they know how much sacrifice has gone into creating a company, building up something, and it's no longer just family, it's business partners, business around you that depend on what you do. So you have to be bold and have to do it privately, always. But more importantly, when you're telling your family member, it's time. You're an asset. You have been an asset. You know, I think it's time for you to find a better opportunity. And I look at business as a vehicle, you know, the vehicle that gets you to what you need to accomplish, because we all work for a reason, and usually it's for financial reasons. Of course, professionalism has to be there. There's a lot of things that you go work with, you know, a family member for, but when it starts creating and starts going sideways, you have to really, really address it and take it for what it is, a very serious situation, and you have to approach them and say, it's time.
And what he said was, well, he said, it's continuous, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I'm mad, I'm upset, and it's over, it's done. No, it's like, I've already come to you, I've already addressed it, I've already said, hey, you know what, this is what needs to be done. It's after you've exhausted everything.
Everything.
I
And
agree
once
with
and
that.
then once you've exhausted everything, you come to them and you're like, hey, look,
I tried to talk to you.
exactly. This is not for you. You don't want it. You maybe you thought, and sometimes there's some things, that you can't really say, A lot of times family members think that working with you or for you is going to be a cakewalk, right? And unfortunately, when you're an entrepreneur, when you have a small company, whenever you're building, it's not. And
Far
honestly,
from it.
Yeah, and sometimes you bring people in because you want to lean on them. You want them to help you. You want them to be part of something,
Build something with me.
Yeah, and whenever you relax or whenever you're taking vacations, that's whenever we've made it and we're both taking vacations and we're both relaxing. That's not the time right now, And sometimes, and like you said, you have to, with respect, you say, hey, look, respectfully, you got to go.
I really feel like we have to guard our energy. It is important for us to be in a high positive energy, to make positive change. And I hate to say it, it's family, it's non-family, they will drag you down. And you have to guard your energy. You have to guard your light, so and do it with love. There's no reason not to. But sometimes it means a cutoff.
Yeah.
And you have to just decide that for yourself. But I think like what both of y'all said, you really, by the time you get to that, you've talked to them.
Oh, yeah.
And you should feel good in your heart. But everybody should know in their heart, And it doesn't have to be forever when you cut somebody off. It doesn't.
No, sometimes they'll quit on you before you do.
Yeah,
Sometimes they might leave you hanging.
because you
Yeah.
stop doing what they want. You
Yeah.
The
know,
goal is that they don't do that often, and you don't fire them often. It's a very serious business. But when you're getting started and you're just frustrated and you're learning the limitations,
setting
you
boundaries.
sometimes lose faith. And I'm glad that the people that started the company with me are still with me, and they've learned, I've learned, and thankfully, the direction that we were all going is that we believed in something bigger, that we were going to become something bigger together.
And that's what's important there is that there's something bigger. You're not here for me, The person that I started the company with, still believes in me. Yeah. The person that I recruited and that joined my company later and became a partner, same thing, He came for me, of course, right? And but all three of us know that there's a bigger picture there, right? And the people that we keep hiring and we keep bringing on board, they all see the bigger picture, and that's what we're all going towards. They're not working for me. They're not, and that's what I tell them. Okay, yes, you are working for me, but we're all working for a bigger picture. And if you focus on that, we'll never have issues. We'll never have problems.
Nothing that we can't work out.
So since we've been talking about families, right? Now I think it's a perfect time to jump into our next topic, which was the rest of the real estate side for this week. And that's that they're trying to implement a new program to make affordable housing. Because I don't know if you guys pay attention to any of the politics or anything like that that's been going on, but for Gen Z and millennials, their number one issue that they're voting on whenever they get polled is affordable housing. Most millennials and Gen Z feel like they can't even afford their first house, right? So right now, they just rolled out, Biden and Kamala administration just rolled out a program that's going to help developers cut some of the red tape in order for them to build. And also they're giving grants. And the first one, I believe, is $85 million, and there's going to be another one for $100 million. And one of the ways that it's going to be used for, as an example here of Milwaukee, they're using $2.1 million to develop vacant lots, abandoned buildings. And Denver is using $4.5 million for low-cost loans for housing developers for utility connections. Do you guys see that this in total of $185 million is even going to make a dent? for
No.
affordable housing. Do you think that they're going down the wrong path? And what do you think would be the right way to even start building affordable housing?
I mean, we have local grants now. If you look in the inner loop, right, it's always those homes that you know, you do your search and they're like super inexpensive and you're like, oh my God, this house is in the inner loop and it costs this much, and then it says, oh no, you have to qualify, you have to be, you know, of a certain income, right? And the thing about it is that you know, really what that does is it gives more money to the builder, right?
Builder,
It gives him
developer.
incentives to build that home and put somebody who, you know, quite honestly, doesn't really belong in the inner loop anymore, you know? And you know, I know that sounds, I know that sounds,
No, that
I
sounds
don't-
correct.
it sounds terrible, but
like
it's
it.
true.
No,
It's
it
true.
doesn't sound terrible.
But the thing about it, you know, and you know, I talked about this last week, right? Or was it last week I was talking about? I was saying, look, home, you know, owning a home is not for everybody. It just isn't. And if you want to own a home, save your money and buy one, you know? And you know, and once again, you know, do I own a home? Yes, I own a home. Is it my dream home? Is it the home that I've always wanted? No, it's not. Why is it not? It's not because I'm still working towards that goal, right? I'm working towards the goal to buy that home where I can retire and I can be where I want to be, right?
And you can't put a line at your house yet.
Yeah, I can't keep a lion, unfortunately, at my house, right? You know, and I could keep a jaguar if I get one that doesn't growl
On your
as
top
much.
floor, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So
enough room. They gotta go though.
Yeah.
They gotta go.
so the thing about it is that, you know, this whole thing, right, where they're going to give money, they're going to give grants, they're going to give all these things, you know, and I always say this, it will never make it to the person that needs it. Never. You know,
Equal opportunity.
you know, it might, you know, maybe 10 to 15% of that money will make it to somebody who had the dream and got the money and made something of themselves. But really, you know who's going to get all that money? All the people that are really good at writing grants and getting that grant money. All these little nonprofits that live all in the inner loop that get money to give classes, to give all their, you know, they might build a roof.
Yes.
They might build a roof for a little old lady here and there. They might do some kind of home buying seminar just to appease the government or appease the state or appease the city. But that money will never make it to the people that really needs it. So stop with all that. You know, you really want to help, you know, go ahead and do that. Cut the red tape for developers. Cut the red tape for these mortgage companies. Cut the red tape for the real people that need it. Let the people that are working get it.
And these days, with technology and everything, there's really easy ways to make affordable housing. And these young
yeah.
kids that want it, they don't
gonna
need a
get
lot of
it.
space.
Nope.
And they will build gardens, they will build buildings. These kids will do a lot. So we're still in the problem of massive amounts of money being funneled into companies that don't have the overall general population best interests at heart.
That's where I
And
was
that's
going.
the
too.
bottom line.
I was gonna say that. You want to make affordability. You want to make it accessible. Really limit what these .com or what do we call them? The larger corporations that acquire
The
property.
iBrokers.
iBrokers. Limit
The
their
tech companies.
limit their
Yeah,
ability
companies.
to
They're
vote
giving
to
them
open.
money by the trillions
Yeah,
now.
Well,
By the
and
trillions?
so when you limit, you know, yes, developers are going to continue building, but they're not going to be selling these houses at a low cost. We know that reality as we get a local builder, they're looking at their profit margins, and it's not any disrespect to them. They know what the comps look like. They know what the market's going to be. So when you're facilitating the developer, what you're telling them is, hey, go ahead and build the house, but unless you're going to limit the sales price, which I don't think you're going to do it, I don't think those affordability,
No.
it's not
And
going to happen.
It's
Now,
top-heavy companies. To me,
Now
it's
the-
top-heavy companies.
And for me, like I'm of two hearts whenever it comes to this, right?
Of
I
course,
understand
it's
of like, okay, cool, you know, you want everybody to buy a house. I mean, that's the reason why you got into this business. Now, should everybody buy a house? Of course not. Some of you need to wait until you're in the right place. Keep renting, you know, as you get your life together, right? But if we could make it affordable, like what they did with the GI Bill after World War II, right? A lot of these shotgun houses are from World War II, and they gave
Yeah,
them to
they
these
sure are.
soldiers at
1956,
a
1970.
low cost, right? But again, what are the shotgun houses? They're not like what my generation wants. My
It's a
generation wants a
two-bedroom, one
$600,000 house for $200. And it's like that's not gonna happen, right? So at the same time, being of two hearts of wanting people to be able to afford a house, at the same time, I understand that most of the people in the market are, even if they make the houses affordable, what would be considered an affordable starter home, most people won't even want, and they will
Facts.
sit on the market forever.
Facts.
And that's one of the reasons why, even if you cut the red tape, and even if you give these builders incentives to build those houses, they won't do
Correct.
it because they know they won't sell. It's more of a mentality problem that we have in this country right now.
And that's exactly what happened.
I agree.
Link and all that. Lincoln.
I was building 2 to 3 bedroom homes in a community, okay? And it was inside the city of Houston. I'm talking about 2006, 7, okay, when the mortgage meltdown happened, right? And they came in with the Houston, or it was a Harris County DAP program, okay, down payment assistance, okay? So we were selling homes, and the county was giving $14,500 to anybody who wanted to buy a home, okay? And what happened was that we were building these one car garage, 2 to 4 bedroom homes, and people were coming in for the down payment. They were not coming in to buy a home. They were not coming in because they say, hey, free home, down payment, nothing down, no skin in the game. So what I ended up doing, selling 50 homes, 50 or more homes to people with down payment assistance, okay? Whenever the down payment assistance stopped and there was no longer any more person, because there was no market for it, nobody had money to buy a home at that time, okay? What happened? Then the investors came in, purchased all the other homes, right? So now you have a neighborhood split in half. People that were there that were not appreciative of what they had because they got it for free, and then the other half was a bunch of investors bringing in a bunch of renters. So then what ended up happening? All those people that got their home with no down payment started walking away from their homes. And then the whole neighborhood became a foreclosure area. More investors came in and bought it for less expensive than what other investors owned it. Next thing you know, you have a whole instant bad neighborhood with nothing but tenants, and nobody is taking care of it. And that's exactly what happens.
And that you're talking about before the .com. Right now,
Yes.
we have builders. We have a lot of homes that are subdivided. They're now in subdivisions that these builders are truly building in excess. Yes, not everybody can afford it, which means there's still inventory. However, you're seeing that there's a lot of incentives, and when you start seeing a lot of incentives, $20,000, $30,000, buy me down the rate, buy me, give me all the goodies of the incentives for the refrigerator. What happens when the taxes start going up? What
Yeah.
happens when the insurance starts going up and the affordability is not there?
What kind of incentive programs will bring the right people to the homes that deserve it, that want to be there? Like, what does that look like?
I mean,
Because I have an
That's a utopia.
that's the $1 million question. But giving $10,000 of incentives to a buyer, right? I mean,
that has not had anything. Doesn't have any financial responsibility.
it has not. Giving a realtor 5,000 BTSA to sell a home. I mean, it just builds instant, bad neighborhoods.
It's liquidity in the market. So
Yeah.
now you've created somebody that has more money on hand. And yes, it's inflated indirectly the values of the home, because now that home is now worth more because of what went into it.
Don't you think that's like programs from the hires up that's trying to manipulate the perception?
I mean, I'm not going
that's
into the thesis.
That's Giovanni's.
That's
That's
what
Giovanni.
I think.
So-
When you do programs like that, you know you can do better.
Yeah,
You can do better.
Giovanni.
You're trying to paint a certain picture that's not
Exactly. That's
for
my main
real.
thing. I mean, I think whenever these programs do come out, there's somebody on the back end who's making too much money. For example, in California, I believe that how many hundreds of millions that they've spent to fix the homeless house crisis that they have there.
They can't account for
And
that money.
it's only gotten worse. But if you look at the people who work there, you know how much they're making in salary? Some of them are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. So it's a profitable business to keep the homelessness high. Why would you fix it if you're going to lose your $300,000 job? It only makes sense to go out there, give them more needles, give them alcohol, which that used to be illegal, and this is what they're doing now.
That's what they
and
did
to
to
incentivize
the
them
Indians.
to stay homeless and not fix the problem. And it's the same thing with this housing, right? They're going to cut some of the red tape, and some of the money is going to certain areas because it's not for the whole nation. I think 21 states got the 85 million, which is not even that much for 21
Texas
states.
isn't part of that.
There's one, I forget what part of Texas, but it's not Houston, Dallas, or Austin. One town in Texas is. And what's going to happen is somebody within that little town is going to
gotta
fleece
capitalize.
most of that money.
Oh yeah.
They're going to be the ones building. They're going to be the ones cutting all the red tape. And the more red tape they cut, the worse the build is going to be. And then those houses aren't going to be able to resell. So I think the way that we can fix the affordability crisis is creating more inventory. And creating more
100%.
inventory that's already here, that's already existing. So give the home sellers who own the property a cut or an incentive to go buy something else. So they can sell their property at a fair price or be more open to negotiate.
Or limitations. I mean, like I said, the iBuyers,
Yeah, get those guys out of here for sure.
you know, limit their exposure. However, on the contrary, you got hedge funds, you got all the big boys, and you know, I don't like saying out individual companies, but you got these guys really truthfully getting backed and saying, here's a couple billion, go flood this market.
Yeah.
So hold, and when it gets prepped up and we have a good supply, offload. And really that's what I saw happen. Happened to be that whenever that happened, we were seeing a lot of seller contributions. These companies were offloading. I mean, they bought cheap, but even then, they were selling at a lower price and giving the incentive. So I don't know to what capacity if they lost money, but there was a lot of companies that gave, that bought. And what did that cause? Well, it caused a inventory problem for me, and I saw it. Thankfully, they sold, but what I would say first off is limit the amount of properties these guys can buy.
Do you really think we have a housing problem, housing affordability problem?
I think we have an inventory problem. That's what I think it is. I think the inventory would adjust if people who want to upgrade or downgrade in most cases, right? A lot of the problem is that we have boomers and your generation who just don't want to let go of their properties. They're empty nesters living in a freaking 6-bedroom house with 2 people there, right? But again, they don't want to let go of the property because they have.
We worked hard for it, bro.
Yeah, but no.
That's the built up.
We worked hard
Exactly,
for it.
but they don't want to leave it. Why? It's not necessarily because maybe they don't want to go buy somewhere else. It's because they have too good of a rate, or
Yeah.
they paid most of it off.
Yeah.
So how could you incentivize somebody who is pretty much debt clear or has a super low rate to get rid of their property? Like, it wouldn't make sense. It doesn't matter how big the house is.
No, unless you lower the
and
rates.
what's happening right now?
The banks
a
need
lot
to
of millennials
offer
moving back
better
in.
rates.
But the government's already doing that by raising taxes. They're going up on taxes.
But you can only go up so much higher in order for you to
Before
catch up with
people
that
start
payment, depending on
screaming.
how much you've already paid off the property.
This
True.
is all top heavy again. People who are getting bailed out and have so much money that don't want to let none of it go. You need to let it trickle down. A lot more of it needs to trickle down, and then a lot more people will be able to finance, will have more opportunities. I think that they're being too tight about the opportunities. They're being too tight about the opportunities that they're offering to builders, contractors, and everything. They're being too tight about the opportunities for people, families that really want to move in and stay there and do something. If they're really, I just think that they're not looking out for the people who are trying to do like their best, like really trying to stick with a community or something.
It's just hard to point out which ones, and I could tell you because we do get a chance to see quite a bit of clients. Some come in with the right interest. Some want to raise families. However, sometimes you do have those that are seeing the financial opportunity. They want to see, capitalization, appreciation of the values, and then go sell and buy low, for example, when the opportunity happens, and sell.
You got to
So
give more. Yeah.
You see it day in, day out. Now, what can you change? It's a systematic problem at that point.
It's systematic.
You can't really control.
The system favors the people that already have money.
Yeah.
That's what has to change. That's the big elephant in the room. Like, come on.
And if that changes,
changes.
are we still America?
Yes.
Are we still USA?
Who? If
I think we steered
If
away.
not-
I think we've steered away from the American dream.
This is an advanced society.
I
think
everybody wants my MTV Cribs to be the American dream.
Yes.
That's what we're at. That's the problem.
I believe
the
in it.
American dream used to be a small house, white picket fence, and one
a
car.
little, land,
One car.
a little couple animal.
The-
You know.
and one car. Yeah.
The thing is this, okay? I still believe in exclusivity. I still believe in luxury. And I still believe that we're not all equal. And I believe that we should work, right, towards that exclusivity and that luxury. And if you take that away from us, then nobody's going to work for it. Everybody's going to just sit here and wait for handouts, wait for programs, wait for all kinds of stuff, I just have a different
I think the
Well, we're
70s
not
had
all-
it right.
All of us didn't start on the same level.
No,
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point.
good.
I didn't
Yeah, I
start.
think that's good, yeah.
I started at the bottom,
Same.
and now that I'm making my way to the top, they're trying to take the top away.
Man.
And that's my anger.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's no effort. I think that the haves and the have-nots, it's gotten too divergent to where the have-nots don't even have a chance. You got to bring it here and have the hunger. Have the people that want you do
I
have
think,
to have
I
that.
think that there used to be the haves and there used to be the have-nots, right? And now everybody's just kind of stuck in the middle of the have whatever, and they're not working towards anything. They're not losing it and they're not gaining it. They're just in the middle, and that's just not where I want to be.
Well, that's the problem, right? Because we've gotten rid of the middle class.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody now is middle class unless
Yes.
you are extremely rich. Unless
Exactly.
you are extremely rich. So we need to find a way, or we, right? We're going to fix the country in this room here.
Right.
But the government needs to find a way to bring the middle class back, right? We need jobs here for people who just want to be regular 9-to-5 people to come here and work. Because what is the meaning of the haves and have-nots? What does that mean, right? The haves, they had everything. The have-nots had nothing. Everybody right now is in the middle. Everybody in America.
just about
In
yeah.
America, we have
Or has
people
access.
below the poverty line who are overweight,
Yeah.
and you don't see that in any other country.
And I said this last
We
week.
have the problem that we have right now of not being able to afford houses. It's an American problem. People who can't afford places to live out in the street in other countries.
But I go to other countries and they're living like tinfoil.
What country?
Like the Philippines, fly in there, and you'll see people
And that's what I'm saying
living
about
in
America.
iron
Yeah, everybody's living
things.
too good in America. That's the problem. And whenever everybody lives too good, there isn't a separation of
think we're-
really good and not good at all. So there's nowhere for you to move up. Everybody's just stagnant, and that's the problem. I think the people who don't strive for better or don't strive for anything at all, they need to fall down to the very bottom. As bad as it sounds,
And
that
just
way-
burn out.
You-
and that way you have the top of the top, and then the middle class thrives again. The middle class used to be great. They used to be great. Look at the 80s. Look at the 90s.
I own properties, right, in the Fifth Ward, right, and I rent small homes, right, for affordable housing, right. That's affordable rental, $750, $800 a month. Okay, it's a high turnover. Okay, so unfortunately there are evictions. Okay, I evict people from these homes. And whenever they move out, what do they have? Louis Vuitton purse. Okay. A nice car. Okay. Remember, I evicted a guy had a Jaguar. Okay. You know,
got
just
upset when somebody got evicted on my property had a better car than me.
yes, yes.
Like, bro,
It happens.
Jaguar.
Pay your $600 payment, bro.
Had you go inside their home. You know, they have a 60-inch TV.
Eating better than
They
you.
have all these luxuries. Luxuries. Those are luxuries. Okay, in other countries and in the United States are luxuries. Okay, that's the problem here. Not affordable housing. There's affordable housing. There's just not affordable.
I would say that
Education.
Affordable luxury. Affordable
and
luxury.
Affordable luxuries.
employment programs.
Yeah.
It goes back to the fundamentals. Are people having access to real good jobs or high paying jobs? I mean, the average mortgage is
and the bad
how
influence. That's a bigger issue. I mean,
because
really.
because affordability for me is being able to make the payments because you're not going to stop inflation. You're not going to stop risk. You know, there's certain parameters with the taxes, with the insurance that cause these payments to continue going up.
Yeah.
How do you stop that? You decrease the valuations, which at that point, who lets the values go down? Not Harris County.
Yeah.
Not-
Well, I think
not
that's
Fort
the
Bend.
problem, right? I don't think the problem is stopping the market from what the market's going to do. The market's going to market. We live in a capitalist nation,
Yeah.
right? We have certain regulations, so we're not unfettered capitalists here. But the only way for you to stop that is people need to go back to the mindset of what like our great grandparents. I know people who grew up with, not grew up, right? Grew up with my mom and their parents know my grandparents, and that the grandparents of the people that I know. They stayed in that 3-bedroom, 1-bath home until they passed away. But you know what they did? They bought almost half of the block up, and they gave that to their grandkids. That's how they build wealth. The difference now is nobody wants that 2-bedroom, 1-bath or that 3-bedroom, 1-bath so they can continue to build their portfolio. They want the biggest house right now. And so you don't continue to build because you get stuck at that huge note when you didn't need it. You wanted it. You didn't need it. You weren't able to put in the work for long term.
Appearances.
Exactly,
Trying to
yeah.
keep up with YouTube and stuff.
So you know,
That's an America problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's an American, it's an American
It's
problem.
sad. It's sad.
So
I mean,
I'm gonna be honest. I started my real estate career in 2004, right? And I will have to admit that I was disappointed when I saw the homes that were for sale. Okay, because you got to remember this. I grew up in the sitcom era. Sitcom era. The sitcom era always showed really nice homes, right? These
Cosby
beautiful
Show.
homes. Yeah. You know, I think one of
Full
my
House?
huh?
Full House. Is
Full House. I
Brady
mean, just
Bunch,
all of them. You know,
Cosby Show.
all of them.
They were
Everybody in the
beautiful.
Home
sitcom
Alone, I
era.
still love that house.
Yes.
Home Alone.
Okay,
Oh my
that
God,
was
yes.
okay.
Yes,
That
yes, and I think one of them that really stuck out was Ferris Bueller's Day
Ferris
Off.
Bueller's.
In my opinion, at that point, at that time, that was my dream home. My dream home was Ferris Bueller's home, and that was a home in Chicago. And you know, it was the trees, it was the home, it was the 2 stories, it was the just everything that came with owning a home. That's what when I got into real estate, I thought I was gonna be selling beautiful homes like that. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna sell homes, I'm gonna sell dreams, people are gonna love it. And I was super disappointed. And I realized really quick that there wasn't any homes in Houston like that, right? And the homes that did look like that were in areas that were very expensive, very expensive. Affluent, yeah. So what happened was that, you know, when I started selling homes, I realized that I wasn't the only one that felt that way. People who got approved for a home felt like that was going to be their home. And I found out really quick that no, it's your starter home. It's your first home. It's the home that you're going to buy now to live in to eventually work your way up to. Which what I'm doing now is working my way up to my dream home even now, right? Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to live in nobody wants to rent. Nobody wants to live in a home that they don't just absolutely love. Nobody wants to they think that they're going to buy their first home's going to be a dream home. And it's not. It's not going to be. And that's something that I try to teach all my realtors, you know, to teach their buyers. This is your first home. Make the best of it.
It's a
Enjoy
stepping stone.
contentment,
Appreciate
yeah.
it. Yes, exactly.
I could see that. I worked a lot as a school teacher. It gets real grandiose real quick.
You're selling the dream versus your
Yes,
society.
realism,
Realism.
And the thing is, be content. Be content. Love it. It will love you back. Keep moving forward. You will build up.
That's what I tell everybody. It's a stepping stone. It's
Yes.
funny, right? Because I have like new couples, right? And I have some of my friends who didn't find nobody here in the States, so they went out, passport bros, and brought their wife back here from Colombia, Philippines, wherever it may be, right? I mean, they did it right. They married the girl, so they brought her here, and sometimes they're shopping with them, and it's like they come here and they want a mansion, like what they seen on TV, and I had to talk to my friend, and I'm like, bro, like this is your budget, like this is what you can afford, like.
You're talking about the immigrant women that came from other countries.
Yeah, yeah. They
Okay.
want something else, right? And like the hard thing for them is to explain
Tell
to them
them
like this
no.
is what we can afford. Like, I am not a millionaire. I'm a hardworking man. I make my 50 to 80 a year, which they live comfortably for two people. That's fine, especially on my other side of town. And I just have to tell them, I was like, you have to remind them like where they came from to where they're at now.
And they should
Even
be
that
upfront.
3-bedroom, 2-bath house, which is a fair house here, it's nothing fancy. It's 10 times better than where they were living back home. And you have to remind them of that. And I think, no. I say it in different words, but on YouTube.
So you have to remind them, hey, a week ago you were walking barefoot
Yeah.
on a cobble road.
Yeah, I had to tell her, hey, FaceTime your mom real quick. And have her
I just
show you your
wonder,
room back home.
to me, I'm like, what did you promise her? Like, how did you pump her head up?
Once
I
she's
hope-
here, I'm like, bro, it's
yeah.
too late. Don't matter what you promised her. Remind her what she was. But you know what? It's a perfect analogy of where Americans are now. You have to remember of where your
you
roots
came
were
from.
originally. Like, what did your parents go through? Your mom was not driving a brand new Escalade or a brand new Porsche or whatever it may be whenever she got with your dad. They were probably
flip
riding
the
around in a
note.
hoopty, and they had fun. More fun than they have to do with you guys now because they got to spend all their money on you.
Flip
Yeah.
the
Like, they
script,
gotta
though.
remember
Now
that.
your dad's proud of you for all these accomplishments. Like, oh, my house was much smaller than
It's
this.
true.
So just FYI, Giovanni is also a marriage coach. So if you're interested in
That is true.
No, seriously,
That is true.
if he does marriage, he does coaching for marriages, and also if you're a couple that's thinking about getting married, he also does consulting for that. So just if you want to reach out to him.
I do a little
Help
bit
the
of that.
lady before or the man before they come over.
It's like, bro. I was like, bro, once you get her here, have her FaceTime her mom, show her old room, and then have her look at this house. She'll be in love with the house again.
Yes.
Or
She's
check
been
the
watching
picture
too much.
before you
Cut the
live.
cable off. Don't pay for Netflix. Don't pay for any of that. Don't give her YouTube. Give her a flip phone. She can't. Yeah. Once you get the house and pay for internet, it's different.
Now let me ask you this. That's an awesome, I guess it's advice. It's good advice, okay? But what about if you bring your wife from another country and the wife came from an affluent family?
Affluent.
It
I
was
was gonna
already,
say that.
she
Oh,
was
that's her
she
mistake.
Had,
That's
she
her
had
problem.
money.
That's
she,
her problem.
Really? Wow.
No,
Okay.
you
That's
have
her
to be
problem.
honest about the
Oh
situation
yeah, don't lie.
that you're putting
Don't
the
lie.
person
Yes,
in.
Don't lie.
If it don't act like we're gonna be shopping on Rodeo Drive when you know you got a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. It may be nice, but be
Well,
honest.
Rodeo Drive in Baytown is a little bit. It's cheaper.
It's a different thing.
She might be shopping, not Rodeo, but Rodeo. I'll take her to Rodeo. You might have a 2-bedroom house over there.
Rodeo.
I mean, be
It's not my fault she didn't
honest.
understand my accent,
That's terrible, dude.
This was a great podcast, guys. But we're gonna go ahead and exit out. I don't want to give any more advice today.
Okay, we
I
did
have to
good.
Not for free,
Yeah,
not for free?
Okay, let me ask you
yeah.
this: Sunset Drive or Sunnyside?
Stop it.
Yeah, gotta get her 2 houses in Sunnyside for the one in Sunset.
Yeah?
Drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll put them together,
The
you know.
whole street.
They don't know better. There's no restrictions over there.
But you know what? I do have some advice for that. All right. You said you said Sunset Drive or Sunnyside, right?
Yeah.
You do Sunnyside, okay? And you buy 2 houses, and you put your wife in one, and you put her mom in the next one, okay? And that way, her mom will remind her every day how appreciative she is, and will tell her daughter, "You better be appreciative of what you got."
You know what?
deep.
That's true.
That is deep.
true, man.
I'm just saying, bro.
That is true.
Hey,
Hey,
Check with me every Wednesday
Yeah.
live on this
Oh,
podcast, bro.
Lord.
I'll give you some good advice.
So bring her and her mom down here.
Yep.
Yeah. Not her sister. 'Cause
She'll
sister's
remind
gonna
her.
be
Nah, her
gassing her up
sister-
to buy more
Let
stuff.
them
Her
rebut.
sister gonna be competing with her. You don't want to
Yeah.
have any
Yeah,
different
problem.
I would
Sister
love to hear
competes.
what you have to say.
Mother appreciates.
Oh my God.
All right, this one is supposed to go this way. We're gonna go ahead and exit. We're gonna go ahead and exit. You can let the people know who you are again and where they can find you, the need your services, and what you do, please.
My name is Kaylin Nolan. I've kind of been taking care of my parents, honestly. To be perfectly honest, I've not been practicing much other than consulting and working for the probate courts here downtown. But I encourage people to estate plan. You know, just write down what you want. And, you know, I'll be back and I'll be here to help and just be in a good place. But you can reach me at KaylinNolan.com, KaylinNolen, KaylinNolan.com, and at my email, KaylinNolan@yahoo.com, if you have any questions. But I'm not actively working, honestly, right now. But I'm happy to help people with estate planning and these things right now. And I'm doing a lot of consulting behind the scenes.
Oh, thank you. And again, my name is Jesus Hernandez. I'm one of the co-founders of Clear Choice. And what we do is we specialize in financing residential and commercial. For social media, it's Apply with Jesus. And my cell phone, 713-530-9823.
My name is Nathan Valderas. I'm the acting broker for Lionsgate Realty, and you can find me in all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate.
I'm Giovanni Frank. Of course, I am the podcast host here at HBR. I'm also a realtor with Lionsgate Realty, but my passion is relationship advice and premarital advice and counseling. So reach me there. Until next time.